Hello, and welcome to Recent Activity, your new favorite entertainment review podcast that attempts to cover every film, every show, all at once. I am your co-host, Andrew Morgan. With me, as always, he's never been thrown before. It's Shane Beauregard. How are you, sir?
That is a fact.
I hope so.
Never been thrown before. I'm doing well, buddy. I'm glad to be here.
Well, apparently you're on the wrong planet, dude. You need to go to the ones with people with elite strength that could just throw you, across the room. That's what you need to do.
I wouldn't survive there, I don't think.
Yeah, any of the planets that we've seen in the Predator universe, including just the jungle version of our own.
Right, correct.
Definitely not surviving there. But good to see you, man. I know, again, for the second straight week, you are doing the Michael Jordan flu game. You're good enough to be here, but not much else. So I appreciate the effort of being here tonight.
I told you, I can make it, baby. I can make it.
Yeah. Well, you had to be here, right? Isn't that like you're literally wearing a Predator t-shirt right now, which it looks glorious, by the way. Where'd you get
Thank
that?
you.
Is that what's the impetus behind it?
I was doing t-shirt shopping one day and came across this site. I think it's Homage or Homage or whatever.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I was like, you know what? I need one of those in my life. So I'm going to scoop it up. So
Yeah, no, it's great. It's kind of got the junk, like the green blood, mixed in with everything. It looks great. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know this is an audio medium, but we'll hopefully maybe have some of the video footage to show the people your efforts. So I appreciate it. But you are a big Predator fan. You've seen all the films. You are into this universe. You probably have regretted a few of those choices along the way, much like most franchises. It's not like Predator's like dying since the 80s when it first came through. But give the people your sense of what this franchise looks like. We talked about this before when we talked about Prey on here, and then you talked about Killer of Killers earlier this year. God, how long ago was that now? It feels like it was only a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, I think that was June or summertime for June, July. Yeah, it was only a couple months back, really.
Yeah. But I mean, we're a long way from Arnold, even though there have been discussions about him coming back. And I believe I don't want to spoil anything about Killer of Killers, but he might have made an animated appearance in that film, just to say one thing or another. But we're in Dan Trachtenberg's universe. So where do you sit with it? How do you feel about it as a franchise? And then obviously we can get to Predator Badlands, which came out and was the #1 movie over the weekend, which is insane when it's coming off of 2 straight to streaming films before this.
Yeah. No, I am so glad this franchise is back because like you said, like I watched all 9 films. And of course, when you have a franchise that has multiple films, you're going to have some downers, and it sure hit a rock bottom.
Right.
Pretty much after Predator 2, which is a very underrated sequel, by the way. It hit its bumps. I actually did like the Predators movie with, even though I thought...
Is that the Adrian Brody or no?
Yeah, thank you. I thought Adrian Brody was wildly miscast for that movie.
Yeah, sure.
But as a whole, I thought the movie was entertaining, and then it just kind of fell apart. And then the Alien versus Predator movie is a good concept. The first one was watchable and that nice little sci-fi B kind of level.
Yeah, Requiem is just tragic.
God, just tragic. So when I heard Prey was coming out, I was kind of dismissive because, like, again, Predator kind of hit its slump and it's like it wasn't going anywhere. People weren't like clamoring for a Predator movie. And then Prey came out of left field and just knocked everyone on their ass. Like, this is good stuff. Like, holy moly. Like, this is what I want out of my Predator movie. And then the surprise follow-up of Killer of Killers. And I was like, whoa, Dan Trachtenberg, he's got something here.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that this world is in his hands because I love his direction. He knows how to handle it. So thank you. Predator is back on the map.
Yeah. And listen, up until Predator Badlands, which I think takes a little bit of a directional turn as far as like, we've seen the Predator, the monster, as it were, as this kind of mostly the villain of every single one of these movies, where it's just this almost like bounty hunter attack, like elite predator. Obviously, it's in the name, coming planet to planet to kind of prove themselves as kind of top dog in the universe and bringing back stuff as almost like trophies to their excursions if they survive, of course, which the interesting part about Killer of Killers and Prey and basically even every single one of the Predator movies that I've seen. Now, I'll be very honest, I have not seen the Shane Black, or Adrian Brody, any of these kind of ones in between, those in between movies. But I will say for the ones that I have seen, it's mostly just the Predator lands in a specific area. You don't even fully know why. And he just kind of wrecks things and is looking to just take over and bring back his bounty back to where he lives. And that's about it. There's no real headiness to it. There's not a lot of drive, but it's so badass. And the character itself is so iconic that we're just like, yes, put him anywhere in time or location, as long as we can identify it and use it as a backdrop to make it differentiate itself from the other Predator movies. We're kind of on board, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I will say, and I just watched Killer of Killers this week in preparation for Badlands. Enjoyed myself, very much enjoyed myself. I thought I want to go back and listen to your words, and maybe you could just do a quick counter stance real quick. But I thought the movie's first half was elite, and then I thought the second half dropped down a bit. And I thought that's where I'm not like, over the moon about this movie. But when those first two sections, I was like, yes, just drop this dude into any tribal war stuff that seems so compelling, almost like silent films, practically. These small little stories about, you had the Viking stuff, and then you had more samurai stuff, ancient Japan, like feudal Japan, whatever it was. And once it got to like America, I kind of went like, okay. And it was fine. It was okay story. I wasn't as compelled by the characters. They didn't seem as cool to me. I don't know if that's just the American in me, that it was like a drop off. And then how it ended, which I won't spoil for everybody here, but like the collection of all these things, I think was affected by that character not being as engaging to me as the rest of them. And obviously not having the feuds within it. So to me, I thought it was an okay ending for a very good, probably my favorite animated film of the year. That's probably true.
Yeah, I mean, what you said, I think everyone has the same opinion. The first two chapters are the best, and they set you on such a high. And then the World War II setting kind of like drops you down. It is the weakest of the three stories. I didn't mind the ending. I liked the dynamic between the samurai and the Viking. I thought that was strong at the very end. You're right.
It turns into like Planet Hulk or like, some version thereof.
But the way it starts and just the animation style and just the storytelling, the first two chapters, to me, elevates that movie. And it does, to me, that's one of the endings that doesn't affect how I feel going into that last half, because I was riding such a high. I was like, this is great stuff. But I just wanted to piggyback off you. This is the first time, like you said, we've always seen the Predator as an antagonist. Like, we don't get his backstory. We always get the human character backstory,
right?
Which is great and it's fine. But this is the first time we're going to see him as the protagonist. So
yeah, it's and to go one further, this being PG-13 really said that a lot in probably the good first 30 minutes, especially of this movie, maybe even 40, 45 minutes. But I'll just set the stage for it here. Again, a very successful weekend for the Predator franchise, Dan Trachtenberg and Predator Badlands. This was number one at the box office, 40 million domestic, 40 million international for an $80 million opening weekend. Scores have been very solid, 7.6 IMDb, 3.6 Letterboxd, 71 Metascore. So critics and audiences alike are on board with this one. This is, of course, starring Elle Fanning and the voices of various people, including, did you know, the Duffer Brothers, who make Stranger Things, did the voices of the computer of Kwai's ship.
I just saw that today.
Isn't that insane? That's very cool. Obviously, they must be fans. And, if you watch Stranger Things, you get their whole, love for like 80s vibe stuff and whatever. So Predator just falling right into the lap is amazing. I'm glad that kind of happened. This is about a young Predator cast out from his clan who finds an unlikely ally in a damaged android named Thea, played by Elle Fanning, and embarks on a treacherous journey in search of the ultimate adversary. To me, Shane, the interesting thing about this movie, besides the fact that we are seeing the Predator from a positive perspective, a protagonist side, is that this is also kind of a coming of age film for a Predator character. It also has a lot more dialogue than what we're used to, including going back and forth between speaking its native tongue and English because of the translation abilities of the android in Elle Fanning's character, Thea. I really thought a lot of things that would normally sound negative when I was first watching this movie. I literally had a bunch of like moments where I was like, oh no, everybody seems to love this movie. I'm going to fucking hate this movie, aren't I? And I got really scared because it's the opposite effect of Killer of Killers, where I thought the beginning was good, but it had a lot of things where I was like, oh boy, this is definitely PG-13. I kept going, is this where Disney finally got a hold of the Predator franchise, being a Fox product and everything? I had so many feelings about how this is the Predator's version of The Mandalorian, how it does a lot of like Star Wars Disney Plus kind of stuff in here with like cutesy characters and plucky, robot characters and, different type of things that tie in fan service with Alien franchise stuff and everything else that is in here. It's like, man, this seems like a show and it doesn't seem like the Predator often. It took a lot for me to like hang in there in the early going. And then to me, I feel like this movie and Dan Trachtenberg got taken by the collar by Vince Vaughn in Swingers and was like, the guy in the rated R movie, and literally just went to fucking town. Bunch of kills, a lot more fun, a lot more engagement, flipping the script enough to be like, this is not about this one search anymore. Now it's a rescue mission, and now it's this, and just really unlocked a lot of things that we love about these type of movies. Not maybe what we love about Predator, so to speak, but these type of movies from that type of period. And then did enough with the Predator stuff that we already like to kind of close out. And then, of course, do its natural thing of like, let's tip to a possible next movie if this is successful. So I was so happy that I finally was able to like come around, wrap my mind around it. But you can also say that this was probably the farthest thing from my mind of what this movie was going to be. And it took me a while to get there, but I'm glad I stuck with it.
I'm glad you stuck with it as well, buddy.
Yeah.
It definitely started off a beat slow for me, though. I do like, you get the story like he's the weak runt of the clan. His father wants him, dead. His brother just sticks up, ends up sticking up for him, and he goes on this mission to take down the beast that his father's afraid of, and so forth and so on. So I love the planet that he's on. Like, I love that design. I love all the weird creatures and traps and, glass.
Grass.
Yeah, I say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, I know, right? But, yeah.
Like the tree monster, like everything was just
literally everything's trying to kill you.
Yeah, it was just wonderfully constructed. And then I liked the whole. I was more worried with the Elle Fanning character Thea, like as the backpack. I'm like, it's like, and someone pointed this out to me. It's like Chewbacca and CP.
That too, sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Because he was literally half at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think she adds levity and humor where it's needed. And I like her character because her character goes on her journey too. Like, she thinks she has a sister out there. She refers to him as a sister. So like, I like the growth that both characters have because, he thinks there is a tool throughout the whole movie. You're just a tool.
It's his only justification he can make as how that tribe operates.
Yeah, emotion is a weakness, and this is a weakness, and like they teach each other things by the end. But you're right. Like, once it becomes a rescue mission, it's on, because I forgot at that point it was even PG-13. Like, that thought just went out the window. So just he adds so much depth to this franchise, and this is just again something different that you're getting a character arc from a Predator character where he's the protagonist, right? So it's just a different point of view, and I think it's a direction that he had to go in. And I think I heard him mention this, like, you can't keep doing the same Predator movie over and over and over and over. I mean, I may disagree with that
what
just
they
a little
were
bit.
doing. Yeah.
Right. So this does kind of shake it up a little bit, which I was glad of. And I like the final confrontation where he goes to get his cloak at the end. I like the Thea and what was her sister's name? It started with the T as
Tessa?
well. It was Tessa. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that whole dynamic. I love Wayland Tech being in there as well. That could set something up for the future. So, and it's funny because I'm watching this movie and coming off of Alien Earth, this is what that planet could feel like. Like if Alien Earth just like evolved over like 100 years, this is what the planet would turn into with all the weird species.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really cool. And I like the end where he kind of uses the environment to help him, just like Dutch did in the Predator at the end.
Sure. Yeah.
He's, whatever the forest has and resources, he goes back and gets that little slimy thing. I mean, that, that shoots whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And I even liked that little, it took me a while because I was nervous too when they introduced the creature's, I guess, daughter that was tagging along with him.
Yeah.
And that had me worried.
It did, because that's when I started to go like, oh crap, we're Disney Plus showing like how they did the Star Wars now, where I was like, you can keep this in the lane of the Mandalorian first season set and we could still be fine here. But if you start to really tip and start doing like the Obi-Wan series or some other stuff that like annoyed the crap out of us because they went too far with making it too kiddie, that would have lost me completely. But I think they pulled it right out of the muck at any time it got even close to that.
They did. And, the character, I grew to like the character at the very end of the movie, and he serves a purpose as far as the plot goes. So it's
Absolutely.
So it made total sense. So overall, I mean, the action pieces were fantastic. Like he doesn't pull back with the action. I like that blade that he was using throughout the movie. Not as much weaponry as I thought we'd get in this movie compared to like coming off of Killer and Killers when they introduced a lot of new tech for the Predators.
Yeah.
This one was kind of scaled down a little bit with just a bow and arrow or whatever he had and then the sword.
And you really feel the lack of cloaking throughout the movie too, because he has to earn that too, which is another thing that they added in the mythology of all this. So yeah, there's definitely a stripped down version of this because I think they didn't want him to be some dominating thing. The movie needs him to struggle. The movie needs him to grow. So to give him all the tools in the tool shed would be a little unfair. So, it's interesting how they set it up, but yeah, I think that's why you need to warm to this and not just go, come on, every Predator is a badass and let's just destroy stuff. You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But it works. Like it ended up working for this movie. And again, the third act is probably the best act of the movie. But, I love the direction Trachtenberg's taken his franchise in, man. Like I had total faith in whatever he wants to do next. Like his 3 movies have been like, you talk about 3 for 3. Like he's batting 1,000 right now, man. Now,
do you think the only growth here is, to his credit, saying it out loud, that he can only really just follow up this movie? Because everything else is a closed loop. The only thing he did where Killer of Killers has kind of a thing where apparently they're keeping some of the people we've known over the years as trophies in a way that can tip some which way. But I feel like this one has the most meat on the bone and seems to be where it'll go cinematically, at least.
Yeah, no, I agree. Everyone says there's going to be a follow-up or speculating there's going to be a follow-up to Killer Killers. I think what we saw at the end of that was fan service. Definitely adds a mythology of like where these characters went over time, like what happened to them eventually.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But I think you're right. Like this movie, the end
which
sets
is disappointing in a way.
But, I think the end obviously sets up, there could be continuation of this. But, who knows? Like maybe he will go in a different direction we're not even thinking about at the moment, like.
He's got a lot of ideas and he's cranked out 3 movies in 3 years. And, that was with short amount of time, 2 in the same year.
Yeah. And honestly, listen, if this movie rakes in money, think they're going to let him make another one? The answer is yes. Like they're going to let him make another one.
Yeah. Cause I mean, for how good I think it does look, I'm very interested. Did you get a production budget number on this?
I want to say I read, and I'll double check, but I want to say I read 105.
So, I mean, an $80 million start's great. And it does have international appeal, of course. But I wonder, and this is the best opening weekend I think they said that the franchise has ever done.
Yeah.
So it's got to be encouraging. But man, that number seems kind of high for the fact that you're coming off of a streaming sequel before it. But I don't know. Maybe they just kind of knew what they had, a good idea, and kind of, the ether is now full between Predator coming back and Alien Earth being around and everything else, where it's kind of entanglements are all just kind of building up to where maybe this is exactly what we need. And Romulus, of course, having some success too, that maybe that it emboldened them to be like, listen, if Romulus made this and we can make half of that, we could be happy with this number. And maybe that's where they got it.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it served them better having Prey be a Hulu original, and then same thing with Killer Killers. Because honestly, in my opinion, if you drop Prey out of nowhere in theaters, I don't know. I think it would have been a dud. Yeah, it would have been a dud.
Well, especially for the year it came out.
Right, but coming off the hype from that, and then the hype of Killer Killers with the same director attached to both those films, I think that just people were going to go see this film. I think they grew their audience organically through the streaming services, and this is the payoff.
I believe so too, and I think this is again another quality movie with a guy at the helm. It's just so hard, right? We want him to keep making Predator stuff, right? Because obviously this is his stuff. But if you think about it, this is the same guy who made 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was also very good in making a sequel to a universe that was dormant but had a lot of potential and had just kind of an idea. It kind of reminds me of where Zach Krager's going to go with Resident Evil 2, that, he's doing something that's not a part of the previous cinematics. He just has an idea in that universe and really just wants to explore this story. I just wonder, he's already done it with 2 franchises where he's made successful sequels. Is he the franchise doctor now? Would you want to pluck him and take him and put him in another franchise to be like, please fix Star Wars. Please fix whatever. Insert franchise that's on the ropes now.
It would be the smart move to try to pluck him from and say, hey, no, you're going to put a pause on Predator for a while.
Right.
We're going to take you and put you in this sandbox. Just do what you want to do here. As long as they give him creative freedom to do what he wants, that'd be a no-brainer to hire this guy to kind of fix a franchise, whatever that is. Just stay away from Star Wars. Don't take Andrew's advice. That's unfixable. It's unfixable.
I hate you.
Disney will get involved some way.
Somebody needs to, Shane.
Leave my guy out of it.
Because, again, if he's doing these a lot in the sci-fi realm, so what's another sci-fi one that isn't currently occupied? Obviously Noah Hawley's not going to take Alien out to the cinema, and if they do, they'll just, bring back in Ridley Scott or whoever else to keep going, right? That seems buttoned up, at least in a way where he's not going to insert himself into that world. So what other sci-fi is out there that's just begging for bringing back out into the cinema that he might have a inkling? Because that's the thing. You could tell this guy loves this franchise. And obviously he had such a good idea with 10 Cloverfield Lane that was undeniable and really fixed a problem when you see that Netflix abomination that they played after the Super Bowl of the Cloverfield Paradox. He did something out of that environment. So it's in the same way you weren't happy with, Shane Black and that period of Predator. He's now changed that too. So to me, I'm like, God, I wish he could just take something out of this X and then do it again. But only just to be to embolden this guy with any idea that he has. But I honestly, right now, give him one more at least on the Predator stuff while you still have momentum. Let this guy cook. Let this guy work. Because clearly you don't make an ending like this one had without thinking there's another idea behind it, right?
Yeah, correct. He's got to have a vision in mind for it. Now, the curious thing, do you think they'll drop another Alien versus Predator movie? Because I've heard that being bantered around now, obviously coming off the success of this and seeing how the Alien franchise is kind of turning itself around as well.
Well, and it inserted itself in this movie. It's the closest thing you can get to it without having an actual alien, right?
Right, correct.
Well, I'll answer your question with a question of sorts too, because I sent you the thing where Arnold Schwarzenegger is interested in coming back to the Predator franchise too. So which would you rather see him in? Something of the ilk of the next iteration of whatever this universe is that he's building currently with Badlands, like a Badlands follow-up, or a new AVP movie featuring Arnold?
No. If you're gonna drop Arnold somewhere, it's got to be like in continuation of like this setup, the
Okay.
Badlands thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my
I
opinion.
would think so too.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
Like, again, if the end of Killer of Killers didn't exist, I'd almost be like, gosh, could we bring in him as like the next trophy of things, or he discovers their planets? I don't know. The tough part so from what I understand, this movie is like, because he didn't want to step on the toes of Alien Earth because he actually didn't know what they were doing exactly when he was making this. And he didn't want to kind of step on the toes of some other stuff going on in its own universe or the previous iterations of Predator, that he said this is set so far in the future that it doesn't have anything to do with anything.
I saw that.
So if it is that far in the future, then how is Arnold tie into that, right? Unless he goes back, which clearly the Predators, I don't know if they have the ability to go back or whether we just saw a lot of stuff of them in different time periods, because it's not the same Predator every time.
Correct.
So now that we know that there's like a whole planet of it and everything. So I guess they could literally do anything. They don't have to follow this up. They don't even have to bring Arnold. I don't think they need it because Arnold is a whole other thing. But I think it would make more money, which of course everybody loves.
Yeah. They're not going to turn down that green.
No. Is it going to be a better movie for it? I don't think so. But if anyone can pull it off and bring it in organically, it would be Trachtenberg.
Yeah,
because he
that's
just
why
cares.
Yeah, he cares, and like I said, we both have faith in whatever he wants to put down for ideas and flesh something out. I'm sure he'll make it work, or like you said, organically, and it would make total sense. Like, there's Dutch,
yeah.
I'm just ready for whatever he wants to do next, man. Like, I'm so fired up right now.
Here's another good question for you as a person who has loved it for decades, not just the Trachtenberg years. Do you think he wants anything to do with going back to kind of like a more traditional Predator movie? Meaning like villain again, different kind of guy, badass, going to another place in time.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't rule it out, only because from what we've seen in like the Killers, like hell yeah, drop him in Japan. Like that was so, like, if he has a cool time period piece or cool setting and a story behind it, yeah, man, drop him in there and let him be the antagonist again.
Yeah.
But I do think that's going to be held on ice just for a little bit. I think we're going to see more of the Predator growing, whatever, into the protagonist now. I think that's the direction that he's setting up to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to drop him in a time period that we haven't thought of yet? I'm on board, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered a lot of the kind of Earth's history enough to really, because do you want Predator mixed in like any geopolitical modernization? I don't really think so.
I don't think so.
And again, he could sell me probably any idea at this point, but I don't know. And the further you go back, what still seems interesting, right? Like, do you want to see Predator in like an Ice Age kind of a thing to make it like a Hoth kind of a battle thing with the Predator? That'd be kind of dope.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
But, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Because we've already done kind of like the jungle environments, the everything killing you, trying to kill you things. We've done the various
city
time periods, the city thing with part 2, right? So yeah, it's been well traveled. I think either you do something a little more on his home planet, like an invasion in that, and then just have a whole host of them just going buck nutty. That would be kind of fun.
That'd be fun.
Or a civil war that maybe he just started. That'd be interesting too.
It tips its hat that he may have done that. Who knows what Mother wants? Like who knows? I'm interested to see what that design's going to look like.
Predator Civil War. I could just see the fucking poster now. That would be insane. But yeah, no, I end up really liking this. Where would you score it? Because I know you're going to score it higher than me. Do they make 5.5, Shane?
No, I'm going to give this one a 4.
Okay. That's
only because I gave Prey a 4.5. I gave Killers a 4.5. And to me, as much as I enjoyed this movie, I enjoyed Prey and Killers a little bit more. That's just my personal taste. So
Yeah.
I can't rate this one like I rated those. To me, Prey's my favorite of the Trachtenberg trilogy so far. But this one was a lot of fun. It's action packed and it's like keeps going for the most part. So I gave it a solid 4.
I think Prey is the most consistent too, as far as story and the way it unfolds. That I was engaged from start to finish, maybe a little better. The highs are still really good with both Killer of Killers and this one. The weird part is I kind of almost gave them all the same grade. It's just stronger or weaker of the same grade. And I think they're all a 3.5 to me.
Okay.
I think that's where I landed. But again, that's great. Give me fucking 3 ultra solid, tipping close to 4 type movies. Yeah, do it every year. Do it every 2 years. Let's do it. I'll have the season tickets as they were.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
What franchise can say that now?
Not a lot.
If you had to compare, like, who's in the healthiest state of, franchises currently, especially like action franchises.
Can't really think of action franchises
because John Wick is dead.
Yeah, John Wick is dead. Fast and Furious to me is a joke.
Is on ice. Yeah,
it's on ice and it's a joke.
Yeah. And again, like if you're tipping sci-fi, Alien, like Romulus was good, but it was a one-off, so you don't know where they're going to go forward with that. And Star Wars, they got that Ryan Gosling movie coming out.
But we'll wait and see on that.
Grogu and Mandalorian, which I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so it is right now. It's the hottest probably sci-fi franchise going right now, for sure.
Do you think if Mandalorian and Grogu only make 80 million its opening weekend, do you think they'll just like cry?
Yeah.
Just cry forever. Like, what do you think a number they have to hit? Because that's coming out in like May or something?
It's coming out in May. I think in their minds, I'm going to say they want to hit between 110 to 120.
Worldwide?
Domestic.
Yeah, because this made only 40. So to me, if they make 150 to 200 in a weekend, like a Marvel movie thing is what they want.
Yes.
But even like Thunderbolts, I don't even know if it hit that number. Is it only Thunderbolts made close to 400?
Yeah.
It was like 390 or something total. You got to think that they would be happy-ish with that number if that's what Mandalorian and Grogu make. Only because you know how cheaply they shoot those things.
Yes.
Because they have their own studio with the curved screen, the whatever they call it, that studio that Favreau and them built. I don't remember what they call it. To me, I think because they would shoot it for such a low number that, especially compared to like a Mandalorian season, they'll just be like, it's house money to them.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't have faith that. Yeah, I don't know. I'll reserve my judgment. I just don't have a lot of faith in what Star Wars is putting out.
Me neither. They just gotta. And again, people are gonna probably attack us / me for like, oh, you mean because you don't watch the one thing that gets critically adorned in Andor that you're sitting there like, crying about this when you're watching all the mediocre to bad Star Wars ones because it's shorter, less episodes, and not as, bleak or whatever.
Listen, I'm in the same boat you are. I get crap for it all the time. Like, well, have you watched Andor? No, because I've been shoveled shit for like 4 years. I'm got a sour taste in my mouth. I don't care how good Andor is. I don't want any of it. No, thank you.
I know. I feel like if we, from the beginning, covered it, I would have kept with it and I'd be better off for it. But once I knew that, what was that first season like? 15, 18 episodes? It was a lot, right?
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot.
So to me, I think once I wasn't at the forefront of it, I got so far behind that it seemed insurmountable. Like I would really have to commit to it to be like, almost like when you're like, you get a new book and you're like, I'm going to read a chapter a night, man. I'm going to get through this in a month or whatever. It's like, all right, yeah, I got to do that too.
I do think this movie is going to do well this weekend as well. Outside of The Running Man, which is really its only competition.
That's like a direct hit to me.
No,
because that is same audience.
It is the same audience. And I'm not saying it's going to do better. I think The Running Man is going to win the weekend. but I do see it finishing second. Based on word of mouth, I think it's going to do well the second week out.
I think it will have a very low drop off. I think
Correct.
that's absolutely true, especially domestically, because you're competing with The Running Man, which I think is going to say a lot about Glenn Powell, and we'll cover that a lot next week. But Keeper also comes out too. So if you're looking for something a little darker than maybe a PG-13 movie too, that's going to split up your audience as well. So I wonder if the PG-13 of this might keep it afloat longer too, because what is out there for if you're non-R-rated, like your teen audience, like you're
Nothing.
gonna.
In fact, I'm taking my kids to see this tomorrow.
There you go. So, and I honestly, like, for all my hand wringing of like, this isn't, the Predator I was accustomed to, and it took me a while. Your kids aren't going to give a shit, and it's the most palatable way to get them into this universe. So they might be able to have this as the gateway drug to get to watch the Arnold one, to watch, Prey,
for most kids, yes, but you know who my kids are. So what was the first movie they were introduced to? Arnold one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. They've already had some homework. And in fact, I could see probably your son maybe being into like Killer of Killers too, because the animated is also an excellent gateway. They're doing it right.
Yeah. My daughter loved Killer Killers.
Excellent. Even better.
I mean, loved it.
Yeah.
My son was like, so. And he's not a big movie guy, so I can't come down on him. But my daughter watched that movie like 3 times.
Excellent. I mean, listen, that's a movie because of the chapterization that you can just kind of dip in and dip out too. Like if you're like, oh, I'm just going to watch the first 30 minutes, the first chapter, the first act, whatever, and just watch the next night. It's completely great. Like That's a great way to do it. And like you've seen with Chainsaw Man and some of these other anime things, like having a thing like Killer Killers just on your streaming service is a brilliant idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in a recognizable franchise. I'd love to see the streaming numbers on it, honestly, because, we've covered it. We're talking about it. It probably got a bump from the fact that this is out. Man, it's an interesting conversation because I said it flippantly. I hadn't thought about it, though. This is a very weak year for like animation in the sense of like, Pixar or any of the big heavy hitters are not around. There's no even Miyazaki movie or something. So you got basically K-pop Demon Hunters and this, like Killer Killers, and what?
That's it. I mean,
am I forgetting something? I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Nothing that I could think of right now.
Yeah, it's like Elio, Dogman, Bad Guys 2, and the abomination that was the Smurfs.
God, see, I forgot all about that.
So again, those are the ones I've seen. Now, I don't know if I missed any animated ones in between, but all we have is like Zootopia 2 to come out, which will have something to say. And if there's any other prestige ones that should come out that will fill the void of like, say, Flow or things like that have had success in the last few years. If there's one coming from either overseas or something in more of an indie spirit, as it were. But yeah, this Killer of Killers might be an Oscar-nominated movie. Would that make you super happy? Like, I'm already telling you, like, hey, Sinners and One Battle After Another and these other movies might be up for Best Picture. And if that got tossed into Best Animated Feature, just you're watching the Oscars with your pants off.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I might listen, folks, I might live stream that for everybody.
Yeah. Just with a plate full of nachos, just, dropping cheese on yourself and be like, Conan's funny, Yeah, that's exactly the way to do it, man. So I'm happy for you. I'm happy for everybody because we're colliding in a big way of like between Oscar and major franchise and box office success this year. That's pretty crazy. I like it.
Pretty crazy year. I like it too.
All right, man. Well, next week, as we've already kind of teased, we're going to cover The Running Man. We'll talk about Keeper. Be sure once Shane has his body back in peak physical form, he's probably going to hit our socials big time doing some of these pocket reviews with, I know you've been itching to do Christie. You saw that one. Like I told you, I have a very busy week of covering a bunch of stuff for my Netflix job, which, by the way, for those wondering what Shane thought about Frankenstein. That may appear on our socials as well, because I already covered that on our podcast here. But I would say go to whatsonnetflix.com and check out my latest reviews, which Frankenstein is my latest review. So you can check that one out. And then I'll have a bunch coming down the pike. We got Noah Baumbach's Jay Kelly, which comes out in theaters this weekend. So the review will be on the site for that very soon. And yeah, I got a bunch of other stuff in the fire. And it's also the holidays, Shane. Did you know that?
I was not aware of that. But
yeah, we immediately went from like, you know, the bloodbath of October to now instantly being, you know, hit over the head with the holiday spirit, as it were.
Yeah. My favorite time of year.
Yeah. But Alicia Silverstone has a Netflix Christmas movie on Wednesday. So, you know,
there you go.
I'll be doing that just for old funsies' sake. So be sure to check all those things out and be sure to follow us on the social so you don't miss any of those reviews or anything else we want to tip you on, or our little gallivanting around this era of film and television that we do. At Recent Act Pod is where to do it. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any episodes. Tell a friend. The numbers are doing gangbusters, and I think that's because you guys are listening when we actually say these things at the end. So that's a wonderful thing. And be sure to be here next week, because if you know Shane's love for Predator and all things 80s, wait till we do the Redux on The Running Man, because it's going to bring all those feelings right back up to the top with him being hopefully 100% and stop having the flu. That would be excellent. So be sure to come back next week for more recent activity.